all right. What is going on, all you sorcerers out there? This is your boy Itachi, and this is Itachi Gaming, and welcome back to another Disney Sorcerer's Arena. And we're going to be talking about our top 5 heroes and top 5 villains as far as starting out the game. Not necessarily in game, some of them will translate over, but just for starting out the game, that early game, and what you want to use. All right, so let's get right into it. So as you can see, I've got my Sorcerer's Arena pulled up. Let's go over to our collection and let's first talk about our heroes. Now, number 5 for the heroes is going to be SULLEY. SULLEY is a tank. He taunts, which is fantastic. So let's go over his abilities real quick. He's got a basic. Deal up to, I have it at level 2 right now, deal up to 219 damage to target opponent, 20% chance for a random hero teammate to assist. So if you've got other heroes in here, you got a 20% chance that they may assist when he actually does his basic. This has 3 levels right now as far as we know. Level 3 gives you an additional 50% damage. His next ability is Top Scarer, and if you remember from the movie, he was the Top Scarer. Really good for that as far as the movie is concerned. But for this is going to actually allow him to taunt for 2 turns. He's going to deal up to 209 damage. Right now I've got mine at level 2, goes all the way up to level 3 to all opponents. So this is an AoE and it has a 30% chance to inflict fear for 2 turns as well. So you're going to be able to potentially be able to inflict a negative status effect on your opponents. Then he gains taunt for 1 turn. I'm sorry, so he taunts for 1 turn. The fear is for 2 turns. 5% chance to gain defense up for 1 turn per hero teammate. So the more heroes you have on the team, the more that you could possibly get defense up. The more turns you can get defense up for. Nabu's door, and this little door pops up and he punches through it, but he deals up to 636 damage to target opponent. Deal 50% bonus damage if target opponent is affected by fear. 50% chance to inflict offense down for 1 turn. So you're going to want to be able to use this after you actually taunt with SULLEY, because he's going to be able to deal more damage if the opponent is feared. So you want to taunt with him first, do that AoE, hopefully inflict some fear, and then use this ability. I currently only have it at level 1. Level 2 and level 3 are just going to scale up with damage, bonus damage 35 plus 35% for each. And then he has a passive. His passive is on any opponent being inflicted with fear, this character gains a shield worth 5% of their own health. At level 2, they get a 5% bonus critical shield chance per hero teammate. So this only has 2 levels for his passive. SULLEY, this guy's pretty great, I'd have to say. I've got him at 3 stars already, gear tier 3, and he's been pretty awesome. All right, moving on to number 4, Sorcerer's Arena Mickey, and this guy is pretty cool. You're gonna get him right at the start of the game, but his basic is going to be his shooting star. This is going to deal up to 156 damage to a target opponent, 30% chance to inflict defense down for 2 turns. So obviously this is going to scale up through the 3 different levels. I currently have mine at level 2. Special number 1, perform summon brooms on target opponent, and summon brooms deals up to 446 damage over 6 attacks. 20% chance to decrease speed meter by 10% with each attack. Obviously, decreasing your opponent's speed meter is always huge in any type of turn-based game, and so this actual attack here is actually fantastic. His first special, the magical mob, is going to be able to do that. As you increase in levels, you're going to get 10% chance to reduce target speed meter, and then plus 50% damage dealt. All right, his next special number 2 is Spellbinding Swirlpool, and this is going to be an AOE area of effect. So this is actually going to deal up to 174 damage to all opponents. That's at level 1. At level 2, you have a 30% chance to inflict slow, and then at level 3, you got plus 75% damage dealt. So again, just scaling there again. And then he has a passive called Helping Hand. So on teammate performing a basic attack, 10% chance to assist. At level 2, it goes up to a 15% total chance to assist. So whenever you have a teammate that's performing a basic attack, you have a chance for Mickey to actually assist that teammate. All right, moving on from Mickey. Next we're gonna have Buzz Lightyear. Now I do believe Buzz is gonna be able to do some fantastic things as you move on in the game into that mid and late game. I've got him at gear tier 3 right now, and he is 2 stars at the moment. One of my farms currently. So his basic is Galactic Punch, which I have at level 2. And so right now he is dealing up to 217 damage to target opponent, 10% chance to perform a follow-up attack, deals up to 217 damage over 4 attacks. So my next level 3, is going to add 50% damage. So he has a chance to essentially attack again after attacking, dealing up to another 217 damage after that initial punch. To infinity. And this, he kind of just flies up and smashes the ground. And I have this also at level 2 right now. Deal up to 488 damage to target opponent. Deal 30% bonus damage if target is affected by vulnerable. This is a status effect, negative status effect. Inflict stun for 1 turn. Now, if you remember, there's going to be some other characters that we're actually recommending. Stun is going to be pretty big in this because they're going to be able to do additional things if a particular enemy is or opponent is actually stunned. So in fear. So those 2 negative status effects are going to be pretty big. As he increases, this is going to just increase the base damage dealt to plus 50%. Special number 2 is going to be Laser Blast, and this is going to deal up to 407 damage to target opponent. If Woody is a teammate, 30% chance for him to assist. So he's got some synergy with Woody here. Once you get him unlocked, so you have a chance for Woody to actually assist if he's on the team. But this is going to deal some pretty good amounts of damage here. And as you go up level 2, you're going to gain a health shield worth 10% of the damage dealt, and then level 3, you're going to increase your damage once again to plus 50%. All right, and then passive, Toys Unite. All the passives are going to be 2 levels. So on teammates performing a basic attack, if they are a Toy Story teammate, this character has a 10% chance to assist. So eventually you're going to want to have him in a team with some other Toy Story characters. You're just going to be able to unlock Buzz a lot earlier than any of those other ones. And then as you go up to level 2, he adds an additional 10% chance, so up to 20% chance to assist those teammates. And that's Buzz Lightyear. Moving on to number 2 is actually going to be Ariel here. We've got her at 3 stars already and gear tier 4. She is a leader, and there's not very many leaders in here, but there's a good amount. But she's a leader, and she's going to be a great starting leader for this game. She also is a support character that heals, which is fantastic. For any game like this, when you're starting out, having a healer on your team is absolutely awesome. So let's talk about her leadership real quick. And her leadership is going to do teammates gain 8% bonus maximum health. So she's going to increase the maximum health of all of her teammates that are on that team. Now, let's go to her basic, which is Trident Strike. And Trident Strike is going to deal up to 321 damage to target opponent, connect to all opponents affected by slow. So another detrimental effect that we're going to want to inflict on our opponents, dealing up to 217 damage. So this can become an AoE. It can actually chain to other targets if they have the detrimental effect of slow on them. As you go to level 3, you're going to add additional 50% damage to target opponent. Special number 1 is medicinal melody. So this is going to restore, I have it at level 2, so it's restoring up to restore 338 health to each teammate. You get to level 3, you're going to add additional 20% health to restore. So again, this is just to heal up your team as they're getting low on health. And then we've got electric current, special number 2. Deal up to 963 damage to target opponent. Purge all helpful effects. This is a cleanse, so if you're going up against, let's say, SULLEY there, you can cleanse off his taunt, take off any of those other helpful effects he may have, and be able to get around him going to the other characters that you really want to attack. Let's say the opposing ARIEL, for example, and just take them out. I'm currently at level 1 for this special. At level 2, we're going to gain deal 10% bonus damage per helpful effect removed by purge. So it's going to deal additional damage based off of how many effects that we actually get to remove from the purge. And then level 3 is plus 50% damage dealt, so increase in damage there. And finally, her passive, Triton's Boon. Again, this is only going to have 2 levels. On turn start, 15% chance to grant a random teammate Triton's Boon for 1 turn. Triton's Boon is 30% offense increase, 30% speed meter increase on deal damage inflict slow for 2 turns. And again, that slow is very important for her basic Trident Strike to get this to actually chain to other targets. All right, moving on, our number one hero is going to be Aladdin. Aladdin's going to be needed to get Jafar, and this guy is just going to be great throughout the game, from what I've heard and read, going into late game. So let's go over his particular kit. So his basic is Street Rat Strike, and I have it at level 2 right now. So we're dealing up to 281 damage to target opponent. Deals 50% bonus damage if target is affected by slow or stun. So if you remember, Buzz Lightyear actually inflicts stun, and Ariel is going to be able to have a chance to give Trident's Boon over to characters, which is going to allow them to actually inflict slow. So moving on, we've got special number 1 is 1 jump ahead. Deal up to 601 damage to target opponent. 30% chance to gain haste for 2 turns. Gain evasion. If Jasmine is a teammate, she will assist. And as you go up to level 3, plus 50% damage dealt. So again, you're going to have some synergy here with a particular character, Jasmine. There, if she's a teammate, she will assist. But you're going to want Jasmine eventually anyways. Again, it's going to help you get Jafar in the game. And she's going to be able to assist Aladdin there. Special number 2 is Carpet. And Carpet, deal up to 393 damage to target opponent and all flanking opponents. Inflict slow for 1 turn. So Aladdin with Ariel, you're going to be able to get that slow on the field, and Carpet is going to help you do that. And so this is going to not necessarily a complete area of effect, but it's going to do any adjacent or flanking characters, so to the left or right of the character that you're targeting, and be able to inflict that slow for them on them. So as you move up, it's going to increase 30% chance to reduce target's speed meter by 30%, which is awesome. Again, being able to remove turn meter from a character is great in turn-based type games. And then level 3 is going to add plus 50% damage dealt. So those are the heroes that I think, as far as starting out, that you really want to focus in on. Now I have some other characters. I have Ian, I do have Merida, which Merida you're probably going to want to farm, to be completely honest with you. I've got Barley unlocked already, so obviously he goes along with Ian. And then I was able to do the event for Elastigirl, which I haven't gotten to play around with yet. I also haven't been able to play around yet with Marta, but As far as starting out Toons, you definitely want to go ahead and get those guys, not spending any coin or money. Free to play wise, this is going to be the best way to go. Again, number 1 was Aladdin, number 2 is Ariel, number 3 is going to be Buzz Lightyear, number 4 is Sorcerer's Arena Mickey, and then number 5 is Sully. From here, Sully late game is going to drop off, but Mickey and these other characters are going to kind of stick around and be extremely useful as you go on. All right, let's hop over to the villains and talk about these guys. Now, I only have 5 right now, and there are some particular characters that you're going to want that are going to actually help you out long term that I don't have unlocked yet. But I'm going to talk about these 5 right here. Starting with YZMA. YZMA is going to be number 5. She's a support character again. It's going to help with healing and things like that. Her basic deals up to 147 damage to target opponent. If Kronk is a teammate, 20% chance for him to assist, and this is going to scale up in damage, plus 50%, plus 50%. Special number 1, experimental concoction. This is going to actually allow her to put an elixir on her teammates to actually restore health. Grant the effects of green elixir on target teammate. Green elixir, restore 237 health. Grant 1 continuous healing effect, restoring 237 health over 2 turns. Her special number 2, pull the lever. Deal up to 211 damage to target opponent and all flanking opponents. Reduce each opponent's speed meter by 50%. If Kronk is a teammate, increase initial magic by 1. And then this is going to increase to plus 50% damage dealt with level 2. So again, reducing speed meter. This is why early on in the game she's going to be pretty decent, but she's not going to be one that you're going to keep actually leveling and putting a lot of resources in. And then her passive, potent potion. On turn start, 15% chance to inflict the effects of red vial on a random opponent. What is red vial? It deals up to 110 damage, inflict offense down, defense down, blind, or critical chance down for 1 turn. 10% chance, bonus chance to activate if any teammate is a kingdom character. So that's YZMA. Again, I would not put a lot of stock into her. Don't use a whole bunch of materials and things like that to get her really geared up, because there's going to be a lot of other characters that are actually good. Now, Oogie Boogie, I actually haven't heard anyone talk about Oogie Boogie, and I actually like Oogie Boogie. He is a defensive character that taunts, which is fantastic. But let's go over his kit. His basic, Oogie Boogie Man, deal up to 141 damage to target opponent, 20% chance to purge 1 random helpful effect, deal bonus damage equal to 50% of this character's defense. Again, as you're going to scale here, 10% chance to do follow-up attack and have health restored equal to 30% of damage dealt. And then it also has plus 20% bonus damage dealt. The great thing that I like about this is the purge 1 random a helpful effect. Again, that is a cleanse, so you can take off things like taunt and things of that nature, speed up, any of those type of things. Special number 1, Frightful Shadow. Deal up to 116 damage to all opponents. Inflict fear on all opponents for 1 turn. 30% chance to inflict offense down on all opponents for 1 turn. Gain taunt for 2 turns. So he has a 2-turn taunt as opposed to Sully's 1-turn taunt. And again, this is another area of effect. And is allowed to actually inflict that fear, which seems to be a pretty common thread here so far with defensive tanks. Anyone that taunts is being able to inflict fear and having an AoE to actually get their taunt, which is actually pretty cool. At level 2, you can get an additional 50% chance to inflict silence on target opponent, so being able to inflict 3 negative status effects: fear, offense down, and silence, and then plus 15% chance to inflict offense down as well. So we're going to increase that chance to 45% chance to inflict offense down for 1 turn. Special number 2, time to play. deal up to 407 damage to target opponent. Inflict slow for 2 turns on target opponent. Deal up to 372 damage to adjacent opponents. 30% chance to inflict slow for 2 turns on adjacent opponents. So again, inflicting that slow, as you guys saw some other kits that actually interact with some of these negative status effects. Make sure you're going through and reading the kits to see what's going to give you your maximum synergy between characters. 30% chance to steal, as you go up, 30% chance to steal 1 random helpful effect from target opponent, so we can take away an effect and put it on ourselves. And then level 3 plus 50% damage dealt. And then his passive, Creepy Crawly Cure. 5% of damage this character deals is restored to it as health. So he's actually able to restore his own health. As you go to level 2, you're going to add 10%, so 15% of damage health restored, which is fantastic. That's Oogie Boogie, my friends. Moving on, we got Captain Hook is number 3. And Captain Hook here, his basic is called Blade Work. Deal up to 243 damage to target opponent. 10% chance to perform an extra attack, so he can potentially attack twice. As we go further, we got 25% to bonus critical strike chance. So you're adding 25% to that if affected by haste. So if you put haste on him, you can get additional 25% to his critical strike chance. And then level 3 is going to add plus 50% damage dealt. Special number 1, Gift from Wendy. Deal up to 559 damage to target opponent. As you go up, you're going to be able to have a 30% chance to inflict defense down on target opponent for 2 turns and add additional 50% damage dealt to that character. Special number 2 is 42 degrees. Inflict a vulnerable on target opponent, which, if you guys remember, Buzz Lightyear interacts with the vulnerable negative status effect. And then going to level 2, 10% chance for teammates to assist. Bonus 50% chance for oceanic teammates to assist. And actually, Ariel is an oceanic teammate, would be an oceanic teammate. Passive, Bad Form. So this is his passive. It's got 3 levels. On turn start, 5% to 15% chance to perform the following. Gain haste for 1 turn, which his kit actually increases damage and things like that. Has some synergy with the haste mechanic. Chance to activate is increased the lower this character's health is. As you go up, you get 30% chance to grant haste to random teammate if affected teammate is an oceanic character. Increase their speed meter by 30%, and then plus 5% max chance to activate. So it is going to increase his chance to actually getting that effect, doing that passive. Number 2 is Gaston, who's another defensive character. So he's got Sturdy Punch as his basic. Deal up to 120 damage to target opponent. 10% chance to perform an extra attack and gain offense up, and plus 50% damage dealt as you move on. Special number 1 is Storm the Castle. This character gains taunt for 1 turn, so there's a taunt. 10% speed meter fill to all teammates. So this is actually pretty big, is giving your teammates some speed meter or turn meter increase there is actually pretty fantastic. At level 2, you're going to add 30% chance to grant haste to all teammates, which again, Captain Hook actually interacts with his kit. And then level 3 is going to give you plus 5% additional speed meter increase, so up to 15% speed meter fill on all teammates. Alright, special, the most magnificent shot. So deal up to 270 damage to target opponent, deal up to 141 damage to adjacent opponents, and inflict blind for 1 turn on target opponent. So level 2 is going to give you a 30% chance to inflict blind on adjacent opponents, as opposed to just the target opponent. So again, another ability that's going to give you some detrimental effects and things like that. You're going to actually be dealing damage to adjacent opponents as well as your targeted opponent. And then we got his passive. Offense is the best defense. Gain 2% bonus maximum health. 30% chance to gain defense up for 1 turn whenever this character receives offense up. Level 2, you get 10% chance to gain defense up, and then level 3 plus 2% bonus health. So you can go up to 4% bonus health when this is maxed out, and 40% chance to gain defense up when gaining offense up, whenever Gaston receives offense up. So that's Gaston. And the next one is actually Demona, and Demona is definitely going to be one of those characters that is going to carry on with you throughout the game. I do like her kit. I'm currently farming her as well, but her basic is particle blasts, excuse me. Deal up to 92 damage to target opponent twice. Ignore 15% defense, so she ignores defense here. On critical strike, inflict continuous damage, dealing up to 92 damage over 2 turns. So this is damage over time for 2 turns. As you go to 2, it's going to ignore 3% defense per downtown villain teammate, so only villains, downtown villains particularly. And then you get plus 50% damage dealt, so you're going to increase the damage dealt at level 3. Special number 1, rocket launcher. That big old rocket launcher she's holding in her hand. Deal up to 175 damage to all opponents, so this is an AoE. Level 2 is immediately evaluates all continuous damage effects on opponents. Okay. And then level 3 is plus 50% damage dealt. Now I wonder what evaluate does. Alright, special number 2 is recite. Fulminous Vinite. So this one, what she does here is deals up to 297 damage to target opponent and up to 297 damage to adjacent opponents. Inflict heal block on target opponent for 2 turns. Extend duration of harmful effects on target opponent by 1. Does not extend duration of stun or continuous damage. So everything else you can actually extend outside of stun and continuous damage. And then level 2, 50% chance to inflict heal block on adjacent opponents. So this is a pretty big one because it's able to actually do that heal block. So if there's a healer on the opposing team, they're not going to be able to actually heal up those heroes or villains, their teammates, with using this ability. And then you can extend any of the harmful effects that you've actually placed on there on those characters as well, for the exception of stun and continuous damage. All right, passive recite Sadie. So on this one, it's on turn start, 15% chance to deal up to 122 damage 3 times to random opponent. Inflict continuous damage with each attack, dealing up to 122 damage over 2 turns. 5% chance per downtown villain teammate at level 2 and level 3, plus 1 number of attacks. And that is Demona, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I will say, if you're farming, just a quick tidbit, try to get Syndrome and try to get Shan Yu. Shan Yu is a leader. These 2 characters are going to be pretty big and monumental for you in the game, so try to get those guys as soon as you can. Same thing with Big Bad Wolf is actually pretty big from what I'm seeing, and Jangles the Clown. So look to try to get those characters pretty early as possible as you're farming, because they're actually going to replace some of these starting characters that we're actually talking about, for the exception of like Demona. Alright guys, comment down below in the comments, let me know what you think. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you hadn't hit that subscription button yet, make sure you hit subscribe. Let me know you want to see more of this type of content. Alright my friends, until next time, we're going to go ahead and throw up those deuces. Peace out, y'all.